With 2 weeks to go before the Nintendo Switch 2's release, we decided to take a look at some of the current hot takes from some of our CRUBscribers and viewers. Hello, welcome to this special episode of the CRUBCAST, this special Crub news report. We have 4 of us here. It's a white guy podcast, 4 white guys talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, also known as the entirety of Nintendo coverage.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Kevin. I'm here with Chris, Mykonos fan.
Hi. I'm applicable.
Famous Twitch streamer JTart9.
My intros are the best.
That sucks.
He had a horrible intro right before this. And Brody Rackrocks. Hi, Brody.
My hot take is we should have kept the Justin intro.
No, thank you. So, it's what it says on the tin. We have a bunch of hot takes here. We decided to ask our viewers, our wonderful CRUBscribers, what they think about the Switch 2, both shortly after release and after the after reveal and after the Mario Kart Direct. And we got a good number of responses. They're more measured than they are hot, but we did pull some hot takes as well. Before we hit on that, do we want to open with any hot takes that we individually have?
I'm more excited about the games and the hardware, which should be the thing with every console. I feel like that's my hottest take, I guess.
But
like,
Justin,
I'm excited to see the new Mario Kart like in people's hands, other than like behind closed doors. You know what I mean?
Justin, didn't you miss the entire week's discussion that Nintendo has lost their innovative edge because this is a safe system upgrade and now everything's boring?
Yeah, Justin.
Oh, I did miss that article. Yeah, you didn't pass that one along my desk. So sorry, Chris.
I was helping you. It was exhausting.
Are you not excited to play a handful of games that would use a mouse? Civ 7? The wheelchair one?
Listen, they're finally putting GameCube Virtual Console on something modern. Like, I'm getting a new Mario Kart. I'm getting a new Kirby Air Ride. I'm getting a new Rhythm Heaven. I can't really be too mad, you know?
You're getting a new Rhythm Heaven for the Switch 1. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I don't even have to buy this. So
get it in gear, Justin. I think my hot take is what a lot of people have. I'm not as immensely excited for it as I feel like I expected to be. I didn't have my hopes up for anything insane. I just I know that there's more coming probably in August as far as, games and reveals and whatnot post Donkey Kong, because we don't really have an exact timeline for Metroid besides this year. They're kind of pushing that as a Switch 2 game more than a Switch 1 game. But we don't really have, we haven't seen what is likely Splatoon 4 yet. I'm assuming that will be out relatively soon after the system, given that 3 is a while away now. We're in the rear view on that one. Just stuff like that I think would get me to be more excited. I should say, for the record, I think I am the one of us that has a Switch 2 pre-order. I did it by accident. I pre-ordered that system solely because I saw people freaking out on my timeline as soon as the pre-orders went live. It was like a mad rush and everybody yelling. And I was like, let me open Best Buy's site. And then it was wide open for me to pre-order. And I said, oh, let me see if it works. Oh, it's taking me to checkout. Let me see if it lets me check out. Oh, I have a Switch 2. I haven't decided if I'm going to cancel that. Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm going to cancel that pre-order or not yet, because I could use it for hashtag content, but I don't know that I'm going to need to right away. So
yeah, I had it in my cart at Walmart, and I was like, oh, I can just buy this right now if I wanted to. And then I actually decided against it, and instead took that money and pre-ordered the GameCube controller they made exclusively for the Switch 2.
That sounds like
you're going to have the controller before the console.
That sounds like a Justin
it's a much better investment because I can plug it into my computer with a USB-C and just play GameCube games like a boss.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I don't like that you said like a boss, but that's otherwise that's fair.
Like a real G, I can play Rivals of Ether 2 with my GameCube control.
Now, Chris, you have a PlayStation jacket on right now, so you're the resident shill. What are your hot takes?
I'm a Sony pony. I'm out here plowing the fields, I also had one in my cart and I took it in and out like 4 separate times that night. And I was like, well, I could like, what do you call it? The kids call it layaway, the hot new thing, Klarna, right? I was like,
Klarna that,
I could even be stupid about this. And I was like, I don't want to be stupid about it. I don't know. I feel exactly the same I did during our CRUBCAST episode about this, where I'm like, man, I'm sure it does exist and I wish I was excited. Everything's good about it. Everything seems fine. Everything seems totally cool. I just haven't had that spark thing where I'm like, oh, I got to get it.
Yeah.
And
to the end, to that end of what you just said, I think I'm still of the opinion, more so now than maybe I was even at that first discussion, that we're in officially the era where everybody's the same as far as the console manufacturers go, because Nintendo's messaging in the weeks after that discussion, after that first reveal, was very bad. It did not get any better. Very bad, mostly through third parties. No news whatsoever from them directly. They have a news app, and they weren't using it for news.
Hey, man, they showed Diddy Kong's new design yesterday.
Yeah, Justin, he got teeth now. What do you think about that?
Why did you ask me? Why did you ask me specifically what I thought about Diddy Kong's teeth?
Look, out of the three of us, you're most likely to wear a hat, just like Diddy Kong. And
that's true. You got me there.
You can't give gummy anymore.
I didn't know. No. Chris.
Well, they took the Nintendo logo off his hat, Justin. Like, don't you have an opinion on that?
Can't.
Could.
We'll jump to the first hot take here, and I think maybe the spiciest take outside of one from one of our own CRUBCAST members, because we did have a few that we put in ourselves into our little Discord thread. By the way, our Discord is free to join. Go to crub.org/join if you want to join in some fun discussions and some other cool people like us. The one that I want to open with is somebody who doesn't follow any of us responded to our post. And
which is great. We do like that.
DK Bananza. Yeah, we appreciate it. But they name searched it. And they said DK Bananza is worth more than Mario Kart World.
It's an interesting one.
Intellectually, I don't agree with it because we don't have the facts. Spiritually, I agree with what they're saying.
Yeah, I don't have either of the games in my hand, so I couldn't tell you which one I think is better or worth more. But I mean, I would like to say yes, because what they've showed of Mario Kart Tour, it's just kind of like Mario Kart, but also the crew, but also like a weird like like a weird like platformer in a car where you can like find like little objectives around the world. Like
I'm very into if the world design supports it.
Yeah, I'm actually super like I would like to play that game if it wasn't on a console. It was $530 if you didn't get the bundle.
Yeah, like I'll get around to it, you know.
I guess that jumps to my hot take that I've still stood by, which is what they've shown of Mario Kart, even after the Direct, hasn't convinced me that it won't just be the crew or Forza Horizon, more so the crew, but better. And obviously the but better does a lot of heavy lifting there because the crew it's the crew, but
it's like a solid 6 out of 10 game. Yeah.
The side missions, the side objectives, rather, like the little drift challenges and whatnot that you have in Mario Kart World, I'm not convinced that that's going to make a game that's doing more than busy work. And I don't know that Mario Kart plus busy work is a good formula.
I think in a perfect world, it ends up being that mechanically it's just so satisfying that you don't mind doing whatever it is.
That's my hope.
I like in a perfect world, it's Burnout Paradise 2 or really Cars the video game 3.
Which doesn't look like that, unfortunately.
Which I think, it doesn't look like that to me. I think there's a couple weird decisions that I'm hoping are just, again, them being awful at their messaging this time around. For some reason, we haven't really, so they took out the cart customization as far as the actual parts. Carts are all, functionally, when you get one cart for a character, it is that cart. It's not, you're not changing parts to change stats. You have different skins that they're treating as different characters on the select screen. But they don't have like any user input. There might be a sticker feature they didn't show off, apparently. So you could put stickers on your cart and stuff, which is, they're cool things. But if all of your carts are functionally the same on this massive open world, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. I know some players don't like the customization stuff, but it never mattered enough for them to really have a reason to take it out.
Is it, so are all the cars just the same base stat, or is it just
Bowser and Bowser with a hat will control the same?
Sure, but like Bowser and
Bowser and Mario
Yoshi
won't control the same.
Yeah, like the weight classes will still exist as far as we know, but it's not like you're not having a different set of wheels.
Yeah.
which I think is interesting because this has dynamic weather. This has the ability to just drive completely off the track, obviously. So it's stuff like that I'm not super sold on. And it's stuff like we haven't seen a feature that you would think Nintendo would nail, which is the ability to create custom tracks in the world in multiplayer as you go.
Like to place checkpoints.
Yeah, like imagine you place a checkpoint. This is the start. This is the finish, and you drive, and like that's the track you've made.
Yeah, I love doing that on ATV Off-Road Fury 3, man. That
like,
shit's awesome.
Stop talking.
Like that's exactly what I expected out of the Direct, and then the Direct really like they were really on the defensive about the price, and so when they said trust us, when you see the Direct, you'll see why it's $80. And then they showed the Direct, and I didn't see why it was $80. You know. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that was my fear. When I was doing my logical, rational assessment of like, am I going to get the money out of this $500 bundle purchase, right? I could see myself really enjoying the unlocking phase of this game where I'm getting all the stupid characters and costumes and the weird enemies you can drive for some reason. I'm sure I would enjoy it for that. But I looked back at the 10 years of Mario Kart 8 and I'm like, how many times have I ever played multiplayer in Mario Kart 8? Maybe 6. And I'm a weird case, but I don't see that changing. So I'm like, okay, if this is going to be a fun 12, 15 hours of going for 200 cc's and characters, do I need a Switch 2 for that? But back to this person's point, like Donkey Kong Bonanza is at least energizing. It's exciting. Like, I don't know if that game will be good based on what they've shown, probably, but I don't know.
I'm sure it'll be good, baseline good.
But my question when it comes to that, when it comes to the idea that it's more valuable than Mario Kart in this case, the question that I want answered is just who is actually the primary developer of that game? Because like on some level, it could be the have fun. God, it could be the Jungle Beat to Galaxy to Odyssey guys. Which would be great if it was.
I think that's who is doing it.
I mean, there's some evidence that it could be the Luigi's Mansion 3 guys.
At a point, it doesn't necessarily matter if it is somebody within Nintendo. What's the new name for EA Day? I always forget. Whatever that one is.
I know what you're talking
Galaxy guys.
Whatever their new nickname is for each of their internal studios. It doesn't matter because so many of the people working on this game probably didn't even work at Nintendo when Odyssey was made. So if it's the Odyssey team, it doesn't matter. I looked into it recently because I was doing research for my Ape Escape video, and I looked into Astrobot's team, and 40 of the 70 people that were on the main team for Astrobot are younger than us, have literally worked on only Astro's Playroom or maybe Knack 2 at the earliest, and then otherwise, like there's more people that have worked on Tears of the Kingdom that went to Astrobot than Ape Escape, for example. It's going to be a bunch of younger people, which is that's not to say anything about the quality. It's more that we can't look at, oh, well, they made this, therefore it's going to be the same thing, because that's Nintendo explicitly doesn't want that in how they're positioning their internal studios now. So it's hard to say because they keep, changing stuff around internally.
Sure, and I definitely agree that they don't want it for sure. Like, I think that's clear. It's one of those things where I just can't help but draw comparisons because it is obviously like, is this the in lieu of big 3D Mario game, or is that still coming? And this is like a little appetizer that's done by like the Luigi's Mansion guys. And so that is sort of where
$70 appetizer, Brody.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Luigi's Mansion. I don't like 2, and 3 is okay. So I just don't know where to sit with that.
Take. The game's length will really determine a lot of that to me. Like, this could be more like Luigi's Mansion than we're anticipating if it's a shorter game than we're
and that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah,
like, because if it is a shorter game and we're waiting for the Mario Sunshine equivalent in that analog, that's going to be rough because then you have Mario Kart and a short DK. But we don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know the length of the DK game yet. That's why it's so hard to say.
Yeah. To jump to some of the other hot takes we have here, these come from the actual Discord thread we put up. And I want to shout out Frankenmutt, one of our longtime viewers and subscribers. They said, I can wait a year or two to get this like I did for the Switch 1. Also, no one asked for playable Cataquack. which that is
I didn't ask
incorrect.
for it, but I'm damn pleased with it.
Someone out there asked for it, and it was probably for Smash, not Mario Kart. But it happened.
I did see a gimmick Twitter account that has been active for 3 years, asking to be able to drive as the cow from Moo Moo Meadows.
Oh, that's a good one.
Everyone's so excited.
I hope
over
that was
the
somebody
cow.
at Nintendo, like the Ichiban Twitter account that leaks Yakuza stuff.
I really hope it is, because they were like, we know it's happening. It's only 3 years down the pipeline. I'm going to make this gimmick Twitter account now.
So I can't speak to what Frank and Mutt said here, because I was a launch day Switch person. I got that. I saw Breath of the Wild. I was in. I bought it.
I got mine in June 2018. I waited a while. It sucked.
Okay.
Wow.
I
don't think I waited quite as long.
Yeah, like I was listening to the Game of the Year conversations in 2017, right? And everyone's like, oh man, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, like this just reinvigorated my love for gaming. And I'm like, man, PS4 is doing me okay. I guess.
It'll be interesting.
Sony pony.
It'll be interesting because it's the same situation as the Switch in some regard, in that it's a mid-generation for like the let's just say PlayStation at this point, because the Xbox is kind of on its own timeline too. So it's mid-generation for like right as you would expect the PlayStation 4 or 5 to now be hitting their stride as far as releases go. Obviously, COVID makes that a little wonky, but it's interesting because the counter to that is I haven't seen anything about Donkey Kong that makes me think it's going to be a Mario Odyssey like transcendent experience. It looks really cool.
But it's got Deep Rock Galactic. You can mine the whole area.
Yeah, you know why I don't play that game, Brody?
It's pretty fun. They should bring Deep Rock Galactic to Switch too.
I see a lot of Odyssey
they probably could.
In the details, right? There's a specific quirks to the way the camera zooms in when he gets whatever he's collecting in that game, right? It's just like the minor little touches like that where I'm like, that's undoubtedly people from that, but
it'll be cool in the sense that if it's designed as a pseudo sequel to Odyssey, it probably won't play like a Switch 1 game, in that early Switch 1 games had a lot of pick up and play mentality because they knew people were going to treat it as a handheld at first. And obviously a lot of people did, but also as time went on, they sort of changed their design philosophy to be more core game, but on the go, instead of having to have these constant bits of dopamine, which I loved about Odyssey. But it'd be curious if there are more deliberate, longer form platforming challenges in DK, because if it is, that's Odyssey 2. That's what I want. That's exactly what I was there for begging for Odyssey 2 for so long.
Yeah, also, while we've been talking, I have realized I do have a hot take. I don't like that little purple rock guy companion character in DK Bananza. I think he doesn't look cool enough to be the companion character that's like sitting on your shoulder the whole time. Like that is DK's Clank in this game. Nah, no good at all. Don't
I have
like
to
him.
look at it to even remember what it looks like.
He's just
like
like
a little purple
he's
rock.
so nondescript. Like it is the most. You put him on a silhouette to be like, oh, evaluate his character design.
Isn't he like a little Moai statue almost?
No, I mean maybe, but
He's
not
like a little
really.
fruity pebble with sprinkles. I love him. I would kill Birdie for him.
I don't like him.
I hope they make a plushie of
Birdie
him,
for
but it's
anything.
hard like a rock.
In terms of helper characters, right? You have like the greats and Kazooie, Clank, Daxter, and then you have like
Don't throw Daxter in there.
all of the Nintendo ones. And Nintendo just makes
You snuck Daxter in there, like
Stop
don't do that.
It took me 2 rows on Google Images to find someone who photoshopped DK to be his old design. And my hot take is that the new design is way better. It's not a Switch 2 hot take, but that's my hot take, apparently.
I like the new design. I don't dislike the old
great.
design.
The new
As
design is
an
very, very
N64 kid, I will miss
There is a quality
I
that
will
was
miss
shitty, the
it,
last design.
you know? Yeah. But ever since they changed it from the weird not monkey noises that he made on N64 to like actual monkey noises on the GameCube, it's kind of been out of place anyway, so I get it. I like the design. I like the new one a lot. I know I'll miss the old one a little.
Oh, a new
That's
Golden
fair.
Bolt video just dropped. Oh, interesting.
But there'll be a classic costume in there for sure.
Oh, I can see
let's
that.
jump
actually.
Yeah, because the Odyssey had the Mario 64 costume, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's going to be some kind of like monkey paw where you're going to get it and it's going to be like the N64 blocky costume, not like the modern version of his design.
No, I'm okay with that. Just give me like the like Donkey Kong 64 Donkey Kong. Just let me run around and smash things with it.
Monkey paw. What a pun.
Huh.
Kevin, read the next hot take that you were lining up to do. Please kill
the
me.
next hot take, I am on the wrong Discord now because I had to open my Discord.
I'll read one from Moriarty, host of the CRUBCAST. The Switch holds back all of gaming, so it's a good thing the Switch 2 is going to fail so that gaming can move forward. This is probably that's half serious one, but
that's definitely half serious because he never responded when someone asked him, "What do you mean?" So I think that was a troll.
He definitely means the first.
There are
part,
people
though.
that think that. Yeah, like
there are people who think that.
It'll be interesting because like we've seen stuff like Cyberpunk running relatively well on the Switch 2 to an impressive extent.
To the fact that they are able to get the whole game onto the cartridge is insane.
Yeah,
because they have
that's
confirmed
that's
that
the only
point,
Switch game.
Yeah,
Switch 2 game.
Only Switch 2 game that's not first
on a
party, that
cartridge.
is actually all on the cartridge.
Yeah.
Everything else is a game key.
That's a frustrating one. I'm not really happy with that. I can't say that personally at this point. I prefer and believe in games preservation, but we know the way it's going, and the way you're going to preserve games going forward is by digital piracy. So if the prices were lower, for the digital versions, I would be more inclined to jump forward.
That's always been my argument, is that you're paying the same amount for less.
Yeah.
Like
though you can trade game key cards now, so you have that feature.
Oh,
they're really trying to get you to jump on that one.
I've had to examine myself a lot recently because I see so many people mad about the key cards thing, and it's like in my heart I know they're right, I know they're correct, but I just can't care anymore. It's like you said, it's just the writing's on the wall, and I hate to be defeatist, but what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Not buy it?
The thing that we have to hope and push for is that, and this won't happen with Nintendo, is that as we enter the digital gaming future, we try and push for games that aren't on PC to adopt the PC mentality of game pricing. Because the thing about Steam that people accept, DRM and all, is the fact that games are like $1. It's tough because that's the thing that people are upset about with Mario Kart, is that that's $80. It will never not be $80.
It's cheaper to get it now than in a few years when inflation screws it even more.
Yeah,
that's really the main thing with the Switch
You can get most game of the year games from either other manufacturer or on PC itself for $40, $30, $20 within about a year, if it's not free on the subscription. I don't know what Astrobot's current price is. That might have held so far.
It's held,
but it's also bundled with consoles. Yeah,
I think it maybe went down to like 40, but that's
it's dropped at points for sure. But that's like the exception. You could get God of War Ragnarok for like $40 within 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Only Souls games hold their value like Nintendo games do, and that's just because they know they can get away with it. And
that was something I was talking to you after that Mario Kart Director Switch presentation. I was like, I think the most correct thing they could do to address the price thing without addressing prices was just to finally bring back Nintendo Selects and actually make some of their games cheap. I'm never going to buy Princess Showtime at $60, but for $20, I might try it out. I'll probably never get Thousand Year Door for $60, but at $40, I might try it out.
Yeah, like Pokken. I want to play Pokken with Justin. I have the controller from the Wii U version. I really enjoy that game.
Kevin and I have been price hunting that game for years, and it
genuinely
never
since
goes
it came
below
to Switch.
50.
And it's just disgusting because no one's going to buy that game ever again. It's not going to sell at $50. You're not selling. It's not competitive. No one's playing it. Like it.
Yeah.
Just make it like $30. I think I would buy it for $30 at this point. I think I would cave, but on principle, I'm not spending $60 and then DLC on a game that I already spent $60 on that you didn't support back then.
And now you can get the original Wii U version for $15. Like it's a $15 game.
If we hooked up our Wii U's, we could play together, but we're not going to do that. So.
I think they also killed the servers, but that is what it is.
Did they? Ah, damn. We can break it.
You talk about like the pricing, and that's where I'm at. Where with regards to like, I'll probably wait a year and a half. I know it's not going to go down in price. That's more just like a level of there's more out, and maybe just my own financials match up to getting a new console a little bit better, and things like that. But it's also just like on principle, right? Because I've been in the $80 game hole for more than a decade now, I think. Now, obviously, in terms of MSRP, it shakes out to the same because of conversion rate. But like, I felt that going up when wages weren't, and I was a teenager, so it's not like I was getting much anyway. So I felt that jump. Like at the start of the PS4 era. And so to have this happen, knowing now that, I would like to just point at Americans and go, haha, now you have to deal with what I do. But it's actually like, oh no, mine are going to go up to 120. Yeah, now the Australians get to laugh at me because mine are going up to those prices, but then the Australians are going to skyrocket too. So the thing is I'm not like, in no world am I ever paying $110 for a game. It's just not happening.
Yeah, and that just kind of means you can't play Nintendo.
Exactly, and that's also why I think the Switch 2 is going to be the fastest emulated console of all time.
Oh yeah, because the Switch 1 was relatively
on how fast
quick.
They crack that. Yeah, depending on how fast they crack that, I can 100% believe it.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I would say, I mean, it is a shame from a fundamental standpoint because you want to see people support the games, but if you make it so hard you make people not do it. And that's just how it is. And also, it's not a significant number of players to begin with either. So it's not really worth factoring in. But it's just frustrating. I don't know. That's the thing that's really sucked my wind out of the sails because I really want to. I want to be excited for this thing, but they just haven't given me a huge reason to.
What about the Pokemon Scarlet Violet free performance patch?
Frankenmutt has another hot take. Where was it? I think it's shitty to charge for better performance in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. At this point, we weren't sure about the other ones. So he said Pokemon or whatever when they should have been running that way in the first place. Pokemon we now know, and we knew relatively early, but this was like day
free,
one.
Right?
That one's free. They made it look slightly less shitty. I say that, and Chris can agree, and Justin can agree. We like that game. Scarlet and Violet look like shit. You can't deny they look like shit.
Oh, it looks so bad. The game's good, but the game looks like ass.
It's almost a Steam. Well, what's the word here? It's almost like a Steam asset flip type game where you play it with your friends, knowing that it looks like crap sometimes, and you laugh at it, even though the game itself is then still good. Like it has that quality, and it's $60.
It has like what's the name of that game? Lethal Company. Lethal Company has that same kind of vibe, but that game still looks better than Scarlet and Violet.
Damn. Also, cost a fraction of the price.
As far as the price thing goes, we now also know that Nintendo Switch Online Plus members will get free access to the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom upgrades, along with the Nintendo Switch app Zelda Maps feature that they spent 7 minutes talking about on YouTube, which is incredible.
But not the Kirby or Mario Party ones, right?
Well,
correct. So those have content, so those aren't.
Those are actual DLCs, so those are priced as actual DLCs, and then they also have the
$20. $20 for that Mario Party one is insane.
No, I don't know a single soul that's ever going to want to do that.
Like, who is buying that?
Brody's gonna. Brody loves Jamboree.
I guess credit to them.
Sean and myself are the only ones that have that game in Crub.
I mean, Jamboree itself is fine, but that mode, it's the mouse mini games. Ugh.
Mario Party's one of the few Nintendo games that actually will go down in price sometimes, so I've been waiting. But I guess credit to them, if nothing else. I'm really bending over to give them credit here. You can use any webcam on your Nintendo Discord knockoff.
That is something that I had said when we had this first discussion was, are they going to let you use whatever USB?
I said no chance.
Webcam?
I was
and
wrong.
We all agreed no chance. I mean, we were wrong.
Can I use my PlayStation 2 iToy?
Probably. I hope so.
Honestly,
actually,
yeah.
wait. I should try that if I get the Switch because I have multiple PlayStation 3 cameras.
That's content. That's a whole video.
That's second channel content, baby.
Oh God! I gotta write that shit down. Somebody talk.
I love talking while Kevin's writing things down.
We're talking.
Let me get up another hot take real quick. This one's from the Crazy Even. They said that Age of Imprisonment will have the best story of any of the Breath of the Wild era Zelda games.
By virtue of having one that doesn't immediately contradict itself, probably.
If it actually isn't like just a weird retcon like situation, yeah, it honestly could.
I shouldn't care. They've told me not to care for years, but I'm still a little annoyed that they completely just said, oh yeah, we didn't think to put a single line of dialogue ever acknowledging that 5 years ago we had giant walking beasts that we tore down for parts.
That
was the reasoning, was that they tore them down and said, oh, we don't need to worry about it.
What was the other one called? Age of Calamity?
Age of Calamity. Yes. That was the one that was non-canon.
That was one they briefly kind of pretended was going to be canon, and then it wasn't. That
was when I checked out, and I was like, all right, cool.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where if you like that game, you can consider it canon. It does not matter, you know. Like if you're like,
I mean,
wow,
it kind of
really
does because it changes. It goes to an alternate future where you win.
Yeah.
God, so seems a little.
It's
important.
like they marketed that game as Rogue One, and then closer to release, they were like, "Oh, actually, you changed the future." Like, yeah,
like
cool.
Actually.
But when you think about it, with the reveals in Tears of the Kingdom, like it could still be canon now.
It will probably, by virtue of being a story, I wouldn't be surprised. But also, it's in a weird place because I guess they've now officially said, as far as canon goes, that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom do still both take place in millennia after the other games. It's not just a complete reboot because of how Tears of the Kingdom does things. It's just that there was a singularity at some point, so all the Zeldas are canon, and then hundreds of thousands of years passed, and they reestablished Hyrule with the same sword.
Interesting.
They should reflood Hyrule. Yes, Chris.
The only thing I care about at the moment is Tulin in the new one.
I'm Tulin.
It's in the past, so no.
Oh, it's in the past.
I see you.
Yeah, it's specifically Zelda and the gang fighting Ganondorf.
Yeah, it's the one. It's like all those like flashbacks you see when you beat all the dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom.
Man.
Like that's where you're playing
the same cutscene they play 5 times.
Yeah, we're getting furry alien backstory, Chris.
I just wanted Tulin gaming. So if there's no Tulin, I think I'm going to pass. That's my hot take.
Tulin gaming.
Yeah,
Why Tulin?
I'm looking through our other hot takes here. We have a cold take from Chimbus, who said, frigid cold take, Hollow Knight Silksong has a small chance of releasing during the Switch 2's lifespan.
I'll believe it when I see it. And
it could still come out.
Myself there.
It could come out tomorrow for all we know.
Yeah, it
Shadow
could come
drop
out
the day before.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it out in a museum or going to be out in a museum soon, like before it actually releases?
I think there's like part of it is being featured in a museum or something.
I think you're thinking of how the Pope had Undertale.
The Pope had Undertale?
I'm giving the new Pope Silksong. Yeah.
Don't threaten that.
Yeah, he did have Undertale. I forgot about that.
That feels like a threat, Brody.
They performed Megalovania in front of the prior Pope.
The Pope getting hit with the Homestuck song is great.
At all. I don't remember any of that. That's pretty...
I do remember that. He was gifted a signed copy of Undertale.
From Matt Pat.
Francis.
Matt Pat even tweeted out Deltarune's coming out when the new Pope got picked.
That's crazy.
Hot take. Silksong will be okay. It will come out. The Hollow Knight fans will have 3 weeks of fun, and then it won't be mentioned for the rest of the year.
You know, that actually probably is...
that just tracks with normal gaming trends.
I don't disagree, but Chris, Hollow Knight fans, think again.
No one listens to them anyway. Now. It's only popular right now because it's a meme to go...
Hollow Knight is the Bloodborne of indies in that once we finally get something more out of it, the people that don't shut up will start infighting about whether it's good enough.
We've seen this before.
That's
Half-Life Alyx came out. The Last Guardian, Shenmue 3. What happened? They took their meal back to their room and they shut up. The only one people keep talking about is FF7, and that's just to complain about the good game they got. So whatever.
You see, but those were all ends of trilogies. This is just the simple sequel. That's the difference.
Shenmue 3 was a trilogy.
So there's a third one?
That's what I'm saying.
Last Guardian?
That's a trilogy. Yeah, that's
a
like the end of the
game experience.
Is it Ico, then Shadow of the Colossus?
Brody, do not get pedantic on me right now. I am hot taked up. I will kill you.
But Brody's implying that there will be a third Hollow Knight.
Maybe when he's like 50.
Never. Yeah, Brody can have that when he's dead.
Going through the rest of our hot takes here, we only have a couple more.
I'm angry.
Stick Brightly said, maybe I can stretch and say this counts because it's getting a sequel on Switch 2. Kirby Air Ride sucks.
Fight me.
I agree.
Yeah, that was what I was like. We may need to come in and say Switch 2 hot takes, but that is a hot take.
that is it's apparently a hot take, even though it's like the 300th best rated game on the GameCube. Like even
according to Metacritic, even people back then were like, yeah, I don't know what this is for.
I know a lot of people who go hard in the paint for Air Ride. For me specifically, it's always been the I play it at a friend's or I play it at the McDonald's play place. I didn't have a whole lot of experience with it to the point of engaging with it mechanically or really going for the city trial and everything, which I know people love. It looks neat in the same way that a Wipeout or an F-Zero looks neat. It's cool that they're making another one. Why are they putting it up against Mario Kart though? That's my thing.
I think Kirby Air Ride benefited greatly from the fact that it came out on a system that was half price within a year. So the games were also the ones that weren't Mario Sunshine could also drop in price a lot more easily than they do now. Mm-hmm. You're paying potentially $70, potentially $80, but probably $70 for Kirby Air Ride. And unless it is a transformative game compared to what the original is, I think a lot of people are getting sold a bridge. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, I mean, do you think it's going to go the same way as all the Switch Mario sports games?
No, because Sakurai's working on it. So benefit of the doubt, he's working on it. He wants to work on it, seemingly. I'm sure it will be a passion project sort of game, but it's also a sequel to an incredibly niche game that you only hear about because 15 people talk about it.
How do you flesh it out while keeping it the same thing for those people, basically?
Yeah. And that's going to be tough. I mean, it doesn't. I don't even know that it needs to be the same thing for those people. It just needs to be a very different game than Kirby Air Ride entirely.
Mm.
I think you basically have to expand City Trial to be an actual thing.
Yeah, which if that's what it is, that will be pretty cool. If it's you're not wrong, Justin. But if it's just Smash Run / City Trial into a whole game, that's not a bad idea. If it's a one button racer again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I was screen sharing it in our private server with, I don't think you were there, Justin, but definitely Brody and Kevin, both of you guys, right? And it was the most I wish I grew up with this game kind of thing I've had in a minute. Because I was if I was 7, this would go hard. But as a 31-year-old man here, I'm just okay, it's all right.
It might be the most peak blockbuster Nintendo game of all time.
Right.
Potentially,
my brief experience.
Pinata.
God. Yeah, my brief experience with the City Trial multiplayer at a friend's house one time left me with the exact same impression as my brief experience with the Shadow the Hedgehog multiplayer at my friend's house one time.
Same
which
thing.
was cool. That's neat.
I can be a metallic shadow. That's pretty cool.
I played the hell out of Kirby Air Ride when I was in high school, specifically.
I thought you were about to say Shadow the Hedgehog multiplayer was my golden eye, man.
No. I played a ton of Kirby Air Ride in high school with a bunch of friends. It was one of those games that we had on the CRT in school. Someone brought their GameCube in and they had Kirby Air Ride there. And I played a crap ton of that game and I love Kirby Air Ride.
Oh, you're one of
Mario
them. Okay.
DDR a similar way.
It's not good, but I love it.
Okay.
For a Nintendo game to get a 60,
it's saying a lot.
It's saying a lot. And to be fair, I think Yoshi's Woolly World also got that, and that game's good. So
I don't know. We did talk to a guy on Miiverse once.
We did not speak to that man. When that game came out, Justin and I I happened to be at Justin's house. So I brought the game over. We played it co-op. It was very fun. After the very first level, one of the Miiverse pop-ups was just somebody had said, "This game is trash. Please make a good game." Just floating in the hub world of the Miiverse.
because you were like, "Oh, what are those?" And I was like, "Oh, these are just Miiverse posts." And when the first one we walked up to just said, "This game is trash. Please make a good game."
Because I think my Wii U had never connected to the internet up to that point. I think is what happened because I just didn't have a Ethernet there.
I miss Miiverse. Wish we would have talked about it in the Wii U episode.
I'll be honest. If part of the Switch 2 thing was, "Hey, Miiverse is back," I might have gotten.
Nah, bro.
I put too much time into Miiverse, ironically laughing at a bunch of kids.
Now, if they made a Miiverse app.
Well, that's the thing. If they took the Nintendo News app that's supposed to replace Twitter for them and made that into their own Twitter, it would give you a reason to have the button that you have to have a subscription to press.
Yeah.
Forgetting about that.
I mean, this sound like the whole annoying video that'd be on your front page. Miiverse was special, right? Because it's like, okay, you can look through New Super Mario Brothers U.
God damn it, Chris.
But then, yeah, write that one down too. But then you'd go into like NES Punch Out and you'd have some kid being like, this game's ugly and stupid. I don't get it. And then a bunch of angry people below it. And that was the magic of Miiverse. That is where I would spend
I remember playing Splatoon on Miiverse. Well, after that point that Justin and I were playing Yoshi. And I bounced between seeing people use the common memes of like the 2013 internet, so usually things that are relatively offensive, but then followed by several dozen people screaming "Stop squid bagging" in drawn text form, and I don't think I've ever felt happy since.
It's great. It's great.
That so and the Miiverse stage on Smash 4.
Oh, that was...
Things would just pop up in their background.
That was bold.
So good.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
Speaking of Smash...
what's our hot take? Our next hot take?
I think that's our final hot take of the day.
There's one last hot take if you want to read it.
This is like a hypothetical hot take, I feel like. I hope the inevitable Switch 2 Smash game from Stick Brightly here. I hope the inevitable Switch 2 Smash game will be a straightforward sequel and not a full reboot or dramatic overhaul like everyone was expecting. It's time Smash fans finally learned that a fighting game is more than just its playable roster, and that having fewer characters does not mean the game is inherently worse. I feel like Smash fans have been spoiled, right?
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Entirely.
As a Smash fan, I feel like Smash Ultimate's roster has hit an apex, and I don't think you can go any bigger or better than that. So the only way to really get people like reinvigorated is to just start over.
I'm going to level with you. I still am not convinced that we're just not going to get a Namco port of Smash Ultimate with more characters. I'm not convinced that's not going to happen yet.
The toughest thing is going to be the licensing issues, right?
Yeah.
Having to renegotiate all those deals.
We've seen how willing a lot of these companies are to outside of Square. Like if you lose Cloud and Sephiroth and as Sora, they're releasing the Final Fantasy remake trilogy on Switch too, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they would like to not do that. So it would depend on if Nintendo is cheap about it, if anything, because I think Square has their number and I think Nintendo paid that number every time. I don't know. To me, it feels like if Sakurai is doing Kirby, that doesn't preclude him from also having oversight on
Smash,
changes for Smash. It was Namco working on Smash to begin with, from Smash 4 onward. So between that and them working on a number of games for Switch 2 and Switch 1 that are just completely out of nowhere stuff that Namco just wants to spend money and make some decent money on games that it doesn't matter if people care about them or not. We're getting Patapon and Hot Shots Golf on Switch now solely because seemingly somebody at Namco was like, I like those games. I'm going to go license them and put them on another system.
It's that, and like they make every like weird anime game under the sun that gets like 20,000 sales, and that's really about it.
Like Namco has no reason not to at this point because they're just kind of printing money with a lot of the stuff they put out, and so they subsidize their niche stuff with stuff like Smash and the contracts that they get from Nintendo on stuff like Smash or Mario Kart Arcade or whatever.
Tank arcade games, whatever.
Tank. Do we think this issue ever gets tackled then, or do you think it's just Smash Ultimate gets ported for the next couple of systems?
Again, I think that if you're going to make a new Smash, you have to tear the whole thing down and start over again and just make something entirely new, or you just port Smash Ultimate because you can't build upon Smash 4 into Smash Ultimate like they did with that. Like, you just can't do it. You just got to tear Justin? It down.
You?
Yeah.
There's 90 characters in the game.
There is an eventual spot at which you have to kick the can. I mean, there's 900 characters in Mario Kart. Doesn't matter if they're all costumes. They specifically want you to look at characters, Justin.
There's 90 of them.
Echo Fighters could be
has a different hitbox.
Yeah, every costume that each Smash character has could be their own character select now. You get blue Mario, green Mario.
It'll look like those 2003's like dream Smash rosters you'd see in Google Images with like
17 Mario.
Yeah, and you'd be like, "Wow, this would be sick, guys."
On the flip side, they should actually add a full shader system into Smash, so you can just make your own costumes.
Colors. Miiverse skin. Miiverse themed skin where it just has dynamic text
white.
based on what Miiverse pops up. That's the way.
But that's the thing is, so the wording of this hot take was a little strange to me, where they're like, "Yeah, I don't want them to do like a reboot. I want it to be a sequel." But then also going on to say less characters is fine. I feel like we get less characters if we do the reboot, whereas if we do the sequel, we're getting more. He's saying
is the implication that Sakurai had kind of hinted at was that going forward, like, I don't know what Smash is going to be like after this. It could be 3D. Like, he didn't say this part, but it could be 3D. Ooh. It could be a different kind of game entirely than Smash Bros. So I think what Stick is saying is it would still be the same Smash Bros. That it is, even if you have to dial back and change things.
A 3D platform fighter could be interesting.
It could be, but I think it's a terrible idea.
Well, I've had very little experience with like J-Stars, right? Victory versus whatever.
That's fine.
How'd you go to J-Stars?
And a couple, well, because they're the 3D arena
fighters?
Game.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, why J-Star specifically?
Well, it's the one that I've had some experience with, and each time I've been like, this is a neat idea. I don't think that any of these that I've played have really done it in a way where I find it particularly engaging, but I see the potential. So to have a big brand like Smash that is predicated on its quality take that on as like a project, that would be interesting to see. I would be very interested to see if they could pull that off.
I think the best way you do an arena fighter is like you just make it Pokken. Like that's the best way I've seen an arena fighter be done.
If they made Smash into Tekken in any sort of capacity,
aren't those still like side
without their own Evo?
Yeah,
no,
that'd be
Pokken
insane.
has a 2D mode and a 3D mode.
Oh, okay.
So Pokken is like, it's weird. It has like
it's like phase
stance
shifts.
changes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I still think that it might just be Ultimate again so they can sell it again. I'm going to level with you on that one. I wouldn't be shocked.
A couple more DLC packs, add some 10 new characters and call it a day.
Oh, it never ends.
It's tough, though, because you can play Smash Ultimate on your Switch 1. So there's that element of maybe they do go a completely different direction because you can just buy the original until they shut the servers down for that. And they could easily shut the servers down for that to sell the new one. Wouldn't be shocked.
I guess that's where that $20 upgrade DLC thing might come in, right?
Maybe, but if they're changing mechanics in some way, like if they're like changing how characters work, like if there's a new Donkey Kong model that has different moves.
Right.
Like he's like Minecraft Steve now. They could get rid of Steve and just make Donkey Kong.
Okay. That's what they're doing. They're making all their new games to just replace the IPs that they have to take out of Smash.
You could put in the Slender Donk skin from the new game.
The last thing, there is one more hot take we didn't hit on here from Paging Sai, who said, hot take, I was expecting to pay $500 for Switch 2 and I even get a game with it. So they expected a higher price.
Honestly, that's how I felt when I saw the price reveal. I thought it was going to be $500 going in.
I thought $400 because not that the PS5 and the Switch 2 are going to compete. Like everyone who has one has the other generally at this point nowadays. Like you don't really have console wars between Nintendo and the other two. It's just you have both outside of Japan where you just have a Switch unless you're a PlayStation player. Yeah, I thought $400. I was surprised at $450. Thankfully, for now, they seem to be getting away with $450. It's the game prices, and that's where my issue is going to lay.
The game prices are the real issue because, like, the console is you just buy in once, you don't have to pay that ever again. It's just when they get you every time for $70, $80 for everything you want to play on it. That's what really got my goat.
It does make me wonder if they're going to do, and I'm sure they'll have some equivalent of it. I don't know if it'll be exactly the same, but I've taken advantage many times of the Nintendo online voucher deal where you basically get, if you basically, as long as you buy games in pairs of twos or buy the vouchers in pairs of twos, understanding that you're getting 2 games out of that, if you're using those vouchers on full price games, you're saving something like 20% between the 2 games.
I think it's like in the US, it's $100 for a voucher, so you save $20 overall.
Yeah, something like that.
Which would be, if that was the way they were going to go, I think that would benefit them. Like you said, I don't know that they're going to do that anytime soon with the Switch 2. I think that'll stay on the Switch 1. Or with Switch 1 games, rather.
Yeah.
I'm open to be
Because you
surprised.
can still play a lot of them.
It'd be nice. I
Yeah.
mean, they even did. They made Tears of the Kingdom eligible for that, so that's an extra like $10.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Then they have a bunch of ones that are like 40 and 50, where I'm like, why would you, dumbass? Why would you put one of those?
But I have a final question for you specifically.
Yeah.
If you had to take your Tears of the Kingdom hot glue gun thing, whatever it was called, and put 2 Crub members together, who would you pick?
Ooh, but okay, well, they're just getting glue gun together. They're not like Dragon Ball fusing. So I would probably take Sean and glue Justin to his back, so Justin could be like his Kazooie.
I don't think that would change a lot of the dynamic. I'm not gonna lie.
I think
Sean
he'd be a
could
little
carry you.
grumpier because like he'd just be walking around and you'd be like
Just sitting there.
off the
Can-
ground some. But
Can we make it not like Koroks, where like you're sewing their backpacks? Like we're sewing Justin's skin,
We're grafting
Sean's
him.
skin, so that
That
whenever
I
Sean
don't-
runs, there's like bits of
that-
skin peeling off Justin, so he's in pain. I would like
that
that.
I don't like that.
I want Justin to be in pain while he's Kazooie.
But Justin, you get to
I-
be carried everywhere.
Kazooie's
No.
constantly in pain. She is always pregnant.
That's canon.
Justin could always be pregnant.
Can we end the
Justin.
episode?
A platonic
Justin.
employee said so.
Can we stop?
No. Justin, who would you
Thank
piece
you
together?
everyone for everyone for coming to watch the video.
Let us know who you'd
The next
use in
one,
the comments
hopefully-
below.
Hold on. I
Justin
gotta
is
write
always
Justin
pregnant.
I gotta
No.
write Justin pregnant down on my video list too. Hold on.
Stop.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, the
Bye.
pregnancy of J-Turn 9!